Joan, you're up and live and ready to go.
Hello. Hello, everyone. My name is Joan Dukore, and I'm a magician, which accounts for some of the sequence. And I live in Las Vegas, which accounts for the rest of the sequence. I'm originally from Honolulu, Hawaii, which accounts for the tan. And I live in Las Vegas now. When I first moved here, it was very difficult for me to get a job performing right away. My first job here was actually at Denny's. And it was really depressing because people would come in and tell me these gambling stories that were horrible about how they lost their car, their house, their wife. No one had any good gambling stories because, let's face it, those don't end up at Denny's. But I thought, well, while I'm here, I should tell you guys a gambling story. And mine is going to be so much better because I made it up. There was a guy whose name was Joe who wasn't very bright. 'Twas gambling he loved so much it gave him great delight. But since Joe was a simple man with quite a few loose screws, while playing cards with other men, he was inclined to lose. This wasn't until he met a man who was known to lie and cheat. He taught Joe things that he could do so he could not be beat. Joe then went home and marked some cards within these tiny spaces. But Joe, he being not too bright, marked twos and not the aces. Joe then went off to show his skill to all the guys in town. He made a bet that 4 of a kind could easily be found. The guys all bet with happy haste. There was money on the line. Joe cut the cards, and when he did, the 2 came out just fine. The guys, they looked with skeptic eyes. It was only just a 2. But then out came the second one, too lucky to be true. Worried, though he'd practiced hard, his luck could still run out. Joe flipped the cards so he could see if his 2s were still about. The third one came with fancy hands. He flipped them 1, 2, 3, and calmly showed the card and smiled, happy as can be. He never wins, the guys, they thought. How is he doing this? The fourth one came with a snappity pop. Joe said, I never miss. Now the guys all took their money back. He'd cheated, so they said. You see, Joe marked the cards in blue, while the deck was all pure red. Thank you. 4 of a kind. Magicians just love finding 4 of a kind. Now, that's one way to do it. Here's another. Thank you. Now, I always like to ask, are there any magicians out there this evening, afternoon, morning, depending on where you are? They walk among us, you know. They're like Canadians. Sometimes there's Canadian magicians, unidentifiable. Now, I always like to ask because oftentimes when magicians show other magicians' tricks, it can get kind of boring. I mean, we know all the tricks. We know all the secret moves, the sleights. We know where the trapdoors are hidden. We've all signed our name in blood with the devil. So sometimes it's more fun to show a feat of skill. So if I were to take these aces and place them on top of the deck, not much skill in finding them because they are in fact on top of the deck. However, if I were to take those aces and actually shuffle them inside, well, that would make my job a whole lot more difficult. But some of you might be saying, hey, she's doing one of those magician shuffles. The aces are still on top of the deck. I mean, they're not, but they could have been. So we're going to do the most thorough shuffle you can do with a deck of cards. It's called a Pharaoh shuffle, and it actually interweaves the cards 1 to 1 to 1 to 1, just like that. I'm going to put that up to the camera a little bit so you can kind of see right there. You can see them going in together, truly meshing, truly shuffling. Now, once I have done this, I have no power here. All I can do is estimation. Now, the first ace should be right about there. Ace number 1. Now, if I had cut one more card, total disaster. 1 down, 3 to go. Here we go. Ace number 2. Right about there. Now, as this goes on and on, this gets more and more difficult because now the luck factor is really decreasing. So we have ace number 3, right about there. Now this is getting really hard. I don't know if I even trust myself to get the last ace. I mean, it's so hard. Vince, maybe you could help me out by getting someone to help me. Would that be possible? Maybe?
Yes, give me just a second.
All right.
We have Stephanie and Sean in the room. How many volunteers do you need?
I just need 1 for now. Who's feeling lucky, Stephanie or Sean?
All right, bringing Sean in. Sean, can you hear me?
Hello, Sean.
Yes, give me just a second.
Hi, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Where am I talking to you at?
Um,
I just need 1 for now. Who's feeling lucky, Stephanie or Sean?
Sean, can you turn off YouTube for now or mute it?
sure, hold on 1 second.
Sean, can you hear me?
Yes.
We can only take so much of the sound of my own voice.
How's that?
There we go. Sean, where are you at right now?
I'm in Jacksonville, Florida.
Jacksonville, Florida. All right, I'm going to explain to you that I think that the ace is not too close to the bottom, not too close to the top. I think it's somewhere closer to the center. So if you could, can you give me a number, let's say between 10 and 20? And say it.
Sweet 16.
Sweet 16. Is this a lucky number?
Not really, just first one came to mind.
Great, my first time at the Poe Theater and I get a random number. It's gonna be good for my reputation here. Okay, 16. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. You said 16?
Yes, I did.
Oh, thank goodness. Sean, do you gamble?
Not really.
You should. That was really good. Thank you so much, Sean. And a virtual applause for Sean.
Thank you.
Yeah, a lot of times when I do shows here in Las Vegas, I ask, if people are gamblers. And everyone says, yes, I love gambling. I love gambling. I love gambling. And then I ask in other cities, hey, who gambles? And everyone's like, well, I go to the Indian Casino at my lunch break, but don't tell my boss. I mean, it's very different. Now, most people think gambling is just all about cards, but sometimes it's about dice. And I'm going to teach you a real fun fact about dice. I love fun facts. The opposite sides of all dice add up to 7. So if you can see, opposite of the 6 is the 1. We have the 5 is the 2. The 4 is the 3. All add up to 7. Now, this is true on all dice all over. So if you're at your house, you can check, not now, but after the show, you can check Monopoly, Backgammon, Yahtzee. They all add up to 7. Pretty much anything except Dungeons and Dragons. Now, if you have 2 dice and you put them together, the opposite sides are going to add up to 14 because 7 and 7 is 14. Yes. For those that get it, I am so relieved because here's the thing. I live in Nevada and we are 51st in the nation in education. So don't often get the right number for that. But if you have 11, you got to have 3 because 11 and 3 is
14.
Very good. So be careful. Never have 11 on one side and then 11 on the other because that's 22. It needs to be 3 because that's the rules of the dice. Now, it doesn't work conversely either. You can't have 3 and 3 because that would be 6. You need 11 to make 14. Now, we're going to make the numbers just a little bit simpler to confuse you just a little bit more. So we have 5 and 5 is 10. 2 and 2 is 4. Together they make
14.
14. Yes. Now those spots, or pips as we call them in the biz, they're actually drilled into most dice. So I can't just move a spot over and make it 6 and 4, right? 6 and 4 doesn't work with 2 and 2. 2 and 2 only works with 5 and 5. It's okay. We're going to go simpler. We'll go simpler. 2 and 2 makes 4. What's another way to make 4 besides 2 and 2?
3 and 1.
What? Did you say 3 and 1? But see, 3 and 1 only works with 6 and 4. It doesn't work with 2 and 2. Now, some people think because the hand is quicker than the eye. They go, I don't know what you're doing, but I know you're doing something. So I'm going to do this next part very, very slowly just for you. And you know, I don't do that for just any audience. We have 6 and 3 is 9. We have 4 and 1 is 5. And I want you to make note of where that 1 is on your screen. Okay, right there. Make note of where the 1 is. I'm going to go back and just, and then I'm going to go very slowly, very slowly, very slowly, very slowly. Now where's that 1? But you got to watch because a little bit of a shake, it jumps right back. Now this actually got me into trouble once because I used to be in a show at the Fitzgeralds downtown, and now it's called the D. I don't know why, but I was walking through and one of the crap stealers said, "Hey, you're the magician, show me a trick." So I said, "Sure," and I picked up the dice off the table. Mistake number 1, I was new. Mistake number 2 then was when I showed him that I had 1 on one side, then I had 2, 3, then I had 4, 5, and then I had 6. And that's when they called security. Now, as a magician, I get asked the same questions over and over and over again. I get asked, how did you get started in magic? And people are real disappointed when I say my dad bought me a magic trick. I mean, I think they're expecting an owl or something. I also get asked, Joan, is that a stage name? And I reply to that, if I could pick any name in the world, what could be more magical than Joan? Also, I get asked, what is your favorite magic trick? And I'll tell you what, that one is easy because that's the one I love to close my show with. Now, Sean, do I still have you on mic?
Yes.
Awesome. So I'm going to have you help me with this next one too, since you're already there and we had such a connection with the 16. I'm going to put some cards underneath this card box and we're not going to look at them until it's time. Now, next, Sean, I'm going to have you pick a card, any card. Now, obviously, we are virtual, so we can't do this the normal way. So I am going to actually run my finger down the cards, and you're going to stop me. But you're going to stop me by saying a magic word. Now, don't pick abracadabra or hocus pocus, because you know what? They've been done. Instead, I want you to pick your very own one-syllable, easy-to-remember word. Got it? Good. Here we go.
Gotcha.
Okay. I made it through the deck. I'm going to try to go a little slower.
Okay.
Nice, simple, easy to remember word. Here we go.
Ta-da.
Ta-da. Oh, very good.
That worked.
Ta-da. Now, we stopped right here. I do not want to look at the card because that would be cheating. I'm not going to show it to you either because once I show it to the camera, I can see it right on my screen and that would be cheating. So instead, I'm going to place the card inside the card box for safekeeping. So I don't know what the card is. You don't know what the card is. None of the virtual people watching know what the card is, but the cards, they know. Oh yes, it's like calling the Psychic Friends hotline and no less fake. They can sense which one is missing. Oh, and I'm already getting a feeling right over here that your card is probably not a red card. It's probably a black card. I'm getting a sense over here. It's probably not a face card, and I'm getting a sense over here that your card likes long walks on the beach. You'll have to take my word on that. I'm getting a sense right here that this card is the card mate to your card. Now, a lot of people don't know what a card mate is. It's okay, the mating habits of playing cards, they're very interesting, but it's the same color, same number, but different suit. So if I have the 9 of spades, the card mate would then be the 9 of
Clubs.
clubs. So we're going to open this card box up right here, and I am going to show you the 9 of clubs. Now, let me explain something here. Magicians have been finding people's cards for hundreds of years. It's been done. This is not the coolest part of the trick. Oh no. Do you remember before I asked you anything at all, I put some cards under that card box. You remember that, Sean?
Yes.
And do you remember I asked you to come up with a magic word? And you said?
Ta-da.
Ta-da. All right, I want you to check this out. Ta-da!
Awesome.
Thank you so much, Sean.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much, ladies and gentlemen. I've had a fantastic time. You can follow me on the socials, Joan Dukore, my website, joandukore.com. See where I'm performing next. Have a good one.